with Reinvented Delaware, and today I have a really fun project for you. I cannot wait to show you. Let me just make sure I'm good to go here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, like I said, I'm Cindy with Reinvented Delaware, and I have a great project for you. You're going to love this one. It's super easy, and I cannot wait to show you what it is. Let me show you here really quick. This is the final look. Look at this. Isn't this so cute? I'm going to show you step by step how to make this. Before we jump into it, let me just say thank you to Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint Facebook page for letting me join you here and show you this fun tutorial. I'm really looking forward to you seeing the step-by-step directions for this. This video will also be turned into a blog post, so you're going to have photos and step-by-step instructions, everything that you need of how to make this project. I'm photographing it. Where's my camera? There it is. So that we can have a blog post over on Miss Mustard Seeds blog. Be sure to sign up for their email so that you don't miss it, because lots and lots of great projects are going over on the Miss Mustard Seeds blog. You don't want to miss them. It's a great resource, and we just are having so much fun showing you all these fun projects that we're doing. There's lots of other bloggers. So let's get started about what you're going to need for this project. I had to make a list because I'm at that age group where you just forget a lot of stuff. I wonder if you're there. All right, so you're going to need picket fence pieces. So let me just talk about that really quick. You can see here, this one is unpainted. These are the 3 pickets I have put together. Now you can go to Lowe's, to your local Lowe's, and you can go back in the gardening department, like where all the beautiful plants are. That's where I found mine, not in the lumber department. I found these individual single pickets over in the gardening department, like way in the back wall. So check that out. If you can't find them, ask, because they'll have loose ones. Lots of people have to replace the pickets, you know how they fall apart. So they always have these extras. They're about $2 each. So this adorable sign with this gorgeous Gothic design picket, this shape right here is called a Gothic design, $6, $6. Can you believe that? And that's all that I needed except for the paint to make this project. A few simple tools that you probably already have in your workshop. We're going to go over paint colors that I used for this project. I'm going to tell you how to seal it, how to assemble it, all of the above. So let's get started with that. And I'm going to move this over here so I can show you. All right, so the first step is to cut the pickets. Now the pickets come pretty long. I think these were 48 inches long, and I didn't need the sign to be that long. Plus, I needed boards to attach the 3 pickets together. So what I did out of my workshop yesterday with my chop saw, I cut them off so that they were about 38 to 37 inches long, and the leftover piece, there were 3 of them. I only needed 2. I used that to attach the 3. So let me show you up close what I did here. I laid them out on my work table, face down, the side that I wanted to show, face down. And then I used this board. I pre-drilled all of these holes, and then I used 1-inch screws to secure 2 screws in each picket. Okay, so you can see, it's a little backwards for me, but you can see I've got 2 screws in each picket. And before I did that, I applied a nice layer of glue to hold this really securely. And the 1-inch screw will make sure that you don't go through from this side of the board to the front side. You don't want that screw poking through the front. Like that could be dangerous. So we want that. So I measured, and 1 inch was going to cover it just fine. I've got one at the Gothic end of the pickets, and then I put the other one at this end. Now this sign is actually going to hang this way. Okay? So this top one, I decided after I'd made a couple of them, but I decided it was probably best to put the bracket piece and line it up with the edge back here. That might be best, and then, I don't know, I just thought that that was a good idea. So there's that, and we're gonna have all the measurements. You won't have to worry about any of that. Let's see where we are. So I attached them, and then I let it dry overnight. Like I said, I had glue back here, so I let it dry overnight. If you're too impatient, you don't have to let it dry. That's just fine. You don't have to do that. The next step is to paint the pickets. So I have one here that I've already started. Look at these colors. Isn't that so nice? This is the first coat. Let's talk about the colors that I used. I started off with Miss Mustard Seeds blue called Flow Blue. This is a gorgeous shade of blue. This is how this paint comes. Let me show you. I'm going to tell you about these containers here in a minute too. You're going to love this idea. So this is how the paint comes. See that? It's like a powder. You mix it equal parts to water and paint, and then you let it set up. Now before I get off topic, and I'll tell you about the other two colors, these are deli containers. So Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint comes in a bag. And I was kind of having trouble. I have arthritic hands and I was kind of having trouble. So I thought I got to come up with another solution. So I got on Amazon and I found a package of like 50 of these deli containers, and they were perfect. I can mark them with the paint, the name of the paint. I can leave it out in my workshop. That's another great thing about Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. You don't have to worry about it freezing because it's a dry powder. You only mix what you need. So I use these deli containers to keep my paint in. It's easy to get my scoop in there. It just is really great. All right, so the other color that I used is Tricycle. That's the red. It's a really lovely red. And then the color that I used for my white is Farmhouse White. There are lots of whites that Miss Mustard Seed has. I think that Ironstone would be beautiful. That would be a really nice color. Any of the light colors, the white colors, would be really, really pretty. I just had plenty of Farmhouse White, so I used that. Let's scooch that over. Okay, so the next step then is to paint. So you can see here that this is the first coat of paint, and it looks a little rough. You can kind of see the grain of the pickets, especially here on the white, how it looks a little rough. Somebody said, and I forget, it's probably been many of the Miss Mustard Seeds paint enthusiasts have said that it's something like the first coat is the worst coat, something like that. It's almost always the case that first coat is a little rough looking, especially on this. This is raw wood. You remember the front of this picket, these pickets, this is raw wood. So the paint is actually acting like a stain and it's soaking into the wood. And that's one of the reasons that it looks like this. So how I decided to paint this, let me tell you. I took a measurement of the width from here to here, and it wound up being around 11 inches. Like yours might be a little bit different. Then I measured out 11 inches so that I would have a square, and I marked a line with a pencil, and I painted the first coat of paint. So I want to paint the second coat of paint while we are here together. And by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below. We have the social media manager, Chris. She's answering the questions for us. I can't see any of those questions. I'm just hopeful that that's happening. I hope. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below. And we're just going to move along here. I'm going to start off with my blue paint. So I mixed this paint up yesterday, and I needed a way to store it for today, obviously. So I have these little mason jars and these little lids. I mixed my paint up right in the mason jar so that I would have a lid to put it on. So that's what I did, and it sat right in the refrigerator all night. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give it a stir. Yeah, let me show you what this paint looks like. This stuff is great. Let's see here. Remember, everything is kind of backwards. So I mixed it a little thick because I'm painting on raw wood, and I knew that it was going to soak in. If the thinner the paint, the more likely it is to soak into the wood. So if I mix the paint a little thicker, then I thought it's going to sit on top of the wood even better. So I'm just going to stir this up. I don't know if we have any questions. I'm hoping, I can't see any questions, Chris, so I'm hoping that you can answer any questions that anyone might have. They are not showing up for me at all. All right. I just use this little paint stir stick, by the way. These are these little tongue depressor craft sticks, whatever they call them. And I'm using this really nice Zebra paintbrush. The paintbrushes from Zebra are really great. They work so well with Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. And let's see here. You can't see where I am. Let's back up. Actually, I'm going to turn my camera down a little bit so you can see where I am. There we go. excuse that harsh sunshine. This is that time of the day. And I'm just going to apply the next coat of paint. Super easy. So I don't know if any of you have used milk paint before. I'm assuming that you have because you're here on the Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint Facebook page. So you probably already love this paint. I wonder if you've used the Flow Blue. I don't know. This is one of my favorite blues. I love blue. Like, blue is just a good color all the way around. And this one is just so pretty with the Tricycle as patriotic colors. I'm just going to paint the top of the Pickets. I'm not going to paint the sides. There we go. I'm not going to paint the sides. I'm just going to leave that. If it goes off of the edge a little bit, I'm not going to worry about that either. This is a fun project. I'm going to have fun. I'm not going to worry about perfection like I do with some of our antique furniture. We're just going to have fun. Now, this is the kind of project, when you get those Pickets at your local Lowe's or maybe Home Depot, you're probably going to want to buy more than just 3, because I think your family and friends are going to see this at your house and they're going to want one for themselves. So you might wind up having to make these for Christmas gifts. I think they would make great Christmas gifts. You could kind of batch them. You could make them all at once, paint them all at once, just kind of have like an assembly line. If you have young kids, this would be a great project to work on. You could talk about patriotic things for our country. They would have fun painting. Do this outside, let them have fun. And the paint is non-toxic, so that is one of the great things about this paint. It is safe, it's not harmful to the environment, it's not harmful to you. It's super safe to use. All right, here's the red. Okay. Get that nice and stirred up. Ooh, I just splashed a little bit on there, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. Just grab my paper towel and wipe it off. That'll be fine. Yep, it came right off. No problem. Hadn't soaked in yet. Alrighty, get my towel. So if you, I'm also assuming that if you are on the Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint page, chances are you paint furniture and maybe you sell your items at a local shop. My husband and I, that's what we do. We have a local shop here in Delaware that it's not our shop, we're vendors in a store, and we sell our items to local people. And a lot of times those local people are following me here on Facebook or over on Instagram or on my YouTube channel or on my blog too, and they see stuff that we make and they want it. So a lot of times we will make up several of the same thing kind of over and over, like I said, kind of batching the process, and then they get to buy them. So if you have a vendor spot, like I was just talking about, you might want to make several of these and have them ready to go for 4th of July. You could sell them. It would take you a weekend to put these together. They're very fast. It's literally one cut. So when I lined up all 3 of my, I lined up all 3 of my boards on top of one another, and I had them all measured out. Then I brought that chop saw down one time and I cut them all 3 at one time. I just made it super easy, super fast, and that part was done. By the way, if you hear the dog barking, my dog is outside and he knows I'm in here, and for some reason he's not happy about that. All right, so I want to show you the difference of the reds, of the 2 reds, and how nicely this has soaked into that wood and how nice that second coat has covered. Yeah, I got a little bit too much on that one edge. Where was that? Did you see that right there? You might not be able to see that. I can see that. I'm not going to worry about it too much. If I have to, I can lightly sand that little piece and just paint over it with white, and we're going to be just fine. But let me show you how this is doing with drying. It dries really fast. Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint is a water-based, obviously. You can see that blue is just about dry. And then over here on the red, down there on the bottom is the second coat, and then up on the top is the is the first coat. Now, I'm not going to paint my white stripe yet. And the reason that I'm not going to, if I were to paint that right now with a paintbrush that is not super cleaned out, chances are there would be a little bit of red left in there and then I would have pink stripes. So I don't want to do that. But rest assured, once I get my paintbrush cleaned out really, really well, I'm going to paint that white stripe and it's going to be nice and bright like the one that I showed you. Now here's another thing I want to mention. Let's put this over here. Yeah, okay, so the first flag that I made, this one, excuse me, this one, these are reclaimed pickets. They are not brand new from the store. I happen to have stacks of fences in the backyard. Yes, I reclaim fences. We make lots of projects out of them. So it was more like this. You can see that this has leftover paint, that it's chippy. I mean, it's almost perfect. Well, it is perfect in its own state. But when I painted it, it left some extra texture because of this. That's why that flag looks just a little bit different. I'll show you up close. Because if you happen to have a source for pickets, this is really so cool. You can see, it's always backwards. Okay, so you can see here the leftover paint. See how that white kind of came through a little bit? And there's just added texture. You can see it all along. I'm having a hard time because it's all backwards. It just added some really nice extra texture. If you can get your hands on some reclaimed fencing, and I tell you, a lot of people are doing that because they're replacing their fence with the, PVC, whatever that material is called, Trex or whatever. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to get this one here. It's not completely painted, but I want to show you about the star. I think we're going to be all right here. Let's pull that shut a little bit. That helps. Okay, so here are some options for the star. If 3 options. Oh, it's $3.17. I don't want to hold you guys up. There are 3 options for the star. This star was made from a cut paint stir stick. I got a paint stir stick. I cut them in half, and then I drilled holes in each end. Can you see those holes? And I did 5 of these. And when you get 5 of them, you can tie them together with twine. I'm really moving around a lot here. And you get this kind of a look, which is so cute. I hung our star kind of cattywampus on purpose because I like that kind of look. You could also form a star by adding, whoops, that part was wet. By adding the 5 points to the star around here. Just imagine where they would be. The points, draw it out with a pencil, and then you could use rope and tie rope around those areas, wrap the rope around. You could use twine. This was like a sisal rope, and then I also had a piece of twine that would look cool. I kind of like this idea better. This rope, once you get the nails in those 5 points, all you have to do is take that rope and go all the way around to make that star shape. And then you've got the star shape right there. That would be so cute. Love that idea. Or you could do the paint stir stick like I mentioned. And I also had the idea of using a silver chain around to make that star shape. I think that would be so cute as well. So you have lots of options, and we'll talk about that in the blog post. Let's see here. Do I have everything covered? I've got one more thing to tell you. To hang this is what we're going to do. Let me grab this here. I got supplies all over the place. Okay, so to hang this is kind of heavy. You can imagine it's 3 pieces of board, so it does have some weight to it, and you want to consider that when you hang it. What I did is I took 2 screws. Let's see here. See this right here? This screw has a head to it. See that? It has like this. Can I show that to you? There. Are you able to see that? It has like a head to it, kind of like a washer at the top. So what I did was I screwed this in part way, about halfway down, and then I used this heavy gauge wire cut to the size that I needed to hang it. I wrapped it around, and then I finished screwing that on, and that secures that wire on there. And I did it on each side. That way you've got this really cool, can you see the hanger? That you've got this really cool hanger that's secure. We've made lots of these kinds of things out of pickets, and that really does hold on well. All right, let me just check my notes, make sure. I think I've covered everything. Let's see. It's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell, but I think I did. We talked about the supplies that you need. We talked about painting 2 coats. Oh, I forgot that part. You've got to seal it. You can either seal it, and I can't now because the paint needs to really dry completely. You can either seal it with Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Coat, which is a clear coat, really great stuff, I love it. Or you could wax it. Waxing is super easy. You're going to apply it with a chip brush, and I probably wouldn't even buff it off. You can if you want, but I don't even think that's necessary. I think with those 2 finishes, it's probably wise to hang your hanging picket fence flag on a covered front porch. I wouldn't put this out in the elements unless you get some kind of clear coat that is meant for outdoors, specifically out in the rain. And then I think that you're going to be covered. Let's see here. I want to make sure I got everything. We talked about how to make the star. We're going to talk about more of that in the blog post. Golly, I think I've covered everything. Let me invite you again to join Miss Mustard Seeds email list so you don't miss the blog post that I'll be writing this weekend with all the photos, all the step-by-step, all the measurements, the colors, everything that you're going to need. And let's see what else. I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this adorable project. I'm going to go out and hang this on my front porch and start to celebrate the season of summer. It's right around the corner. Celebrate the 4th of July in this amazing country that we live in. So thanks again, Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint, for allowing me to come here and share this fun project. And I'm going to try to think of another one for next month, and I'll see you then. Thanks again for joining us.